Okay, for our notes today, we are going to take them, it's basically the same thing we did in our notes last time, but I want to make sure we have lots of examples. So vertex form is the same as graphing form, so our equation for that is y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. And then we're going to go through what each of the variables does. So the a here, so the sign if a is 0, we know that the parabola will open up. If a is less than 0, the parabola will open down. Another way to say that is that it's a reflection over the x-axis. So if you want to go ahead and just highlight that part, that's going to be some of the wording we use on assessment sometimes. The size of the graph, so if we ignore the sign and we just look at our a value, if that a is bigger than 1, the graph will look skinnier, and it's called a vertical stretch. And then if the a is between 0 and 1, the graph will look wider. And then that's specifically called a vertical compression. Okay, then the other value we have is h, so that's going to be inside the parentheses. So the h value in vertex form tells us the horizontal translation of the function. So if it looks like, plus h, the graph will be shifted h units to the left. And then if it looks like minus h, the graph will be shifted h units to the right. And then finally we have our k value, that's what's added or subtracted to the end. If it looks like plus k, it's going to go k units up. And then if it looks like minus k, it's going to shift k units down. Okay, so once you guys have that, we're going to go ahead and open this up on the inside here. And let's just rotate it. Okay, so in vertex form, we have y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. The axis of symmetry and vertex are easy to find. The axis of symmetry is always going to be at x equals h. And then the vertex is at the point h comma k. So what we're going to do here is we are going to find both of those values for each of these equations. I like to start with the vertex just because it helps us find the axis of symmetry. So we have x minus 2 and then a plus 4. So remember, for our h value, it's going to be whatever the opposite of this is. So it looks like minus 2, so that means it's a positive 2. And then that plus 4 gives me a positive 4. And then the axis of symmetry is going to be x equals and then whatever the x coordinate of the vertex is. So this number here will always match this number here. Okay. So in our next equation, we've got negative 1/2 x plus 4 squared minus 9. So here's our vertex. So it's going to be the opposite of 4 is negative 4, and then negative 9. And then the axis of symmetry is x equals negative 4. Okay, next equation here, we have no number added to x inside the parentheses and a plus 3. So vertex is at 0, 3. And then that axis of symmetry is the y-axis, or x equals 0. And then finally, we've got a minus 9 and then no number at the end. So vertex is positive 9, 0. Axis of symmetry is x equals 9. Okay, so next we have this reminder. So the a value tells us how much to move up or down from the vertex when we move 1 unit to either side of the vertex. So the nice thing about graphing is that this number here tells you where to move on the graph. So if I move over 1, that a value is negative 2, so we're going to go down 2, and that would be our first point. And the nice thing about a parabola is that it's symmetric, so it does the same thing on both sides. So in this box here, we are going to describe the transformation done to the parent function by the a value in the equation. So we're going to look at the sign first. So since this is a negative sign, we know that this is going to open down. And then 5 is greater than 1, so we know it's going to have a vertical stretch. okay, which is another word for skinny. Okay, then number 2. So this time our a value is 3 over 2. Let's maybe highlight these so that we know what we're talking about. So this was the a, this is the a. So in this case, we're positive, so we know it's going to open up. And then 3 over 2 is still greater than 1, so we're still going to have that vertical stretch. Okay, the next one here, we have no a value, so we have like an invisible 1 here. So again, we're going to open up because it's positive, and then there's no stretch or compress. Okay, and then the last one here, we've got this negative 3/4. So the first thing, that negative sign tells us that my parabola opens down. And then 3/4 is between 0 and 1, so this is going to be a vertical compression. Okay. The next set here, we're going to figure out what the h value does. So I'm going to go through and we'll highlight again where these numbers actually are. So the h value is this number inside. So for here we have a +4. So this is going to move 4 units left. So again, it's the opposite of what you would think it is. So it looks like it's +4, so that means it moves to the left, because we actually plugged in a -4. Okay, here we have no number added to x, so we are not going to shift at all. So no shift left or right. Okay, number 3, we have our h value here is +2. So this is going to shift 2 units left again. And then last here, we've got an x -6. So this is going to shift 6 units to the right. Okay, and then our last group here. So we just are talking about the k value this time. So if we look at just k, it's that number added to the end. So the first one here, this is going to shift or move 9 units down. Okay, next we've got +7, so this is going to shift 7 units up. Okay, we've got a +1 for number 3, so we're going to shift 1 unit up. And then last, we have no number added, so this is no shift up or down.